Okay, y'all. Saturday, December 13th, the Santa Claus premiered starring Kimberly Sustad and Benjamin Ayers. Okay, two of my favorite Hallmark people. Now, as you know, I absolutely love anything that Kimberly and Paul Campbell put together. And the Santa Claus was nothing short of that. It was filled with fantasy, Christmas, and the holiday spirit. Now, at first, I warned Megan when she first started this movie that it's really 100% fantasy and it's really freaking funny. Just absolutely funny. I'm giving the Santa Claus an 8 out of 10. And so, if you're not into fantasy, like the Santa Claus, like Sugar Plumbed, these are kind of Hallmark stepping into fantasy, and I personally love when they do it. I know some Hallmarkies do not enjoy that, but I'm going to tell you this. We can't keep saving the same Christmas farm. We can't keep trying to keep, the same property alive. We're going to have some twists and turns to those stories, and this is one of them. So Kate is taking over the North Star Santa School after her dad retires. It's her job to train these Santas for the Christmas season, right? And she is a bit overwhelmed because a lot of people were very loyal to her dad, and once he left, some people left the Santa School as well. Dan works for the competitor Santa School, St. Nicholas. And so he's there and he's their best trainer, but all of a sudden this Christmas season, they decide they don't need him and Dan no longer has a job. So he proposes that he works for North Star and he works for Kate. She's not that big of a fan. It turns out the two of them had a date once upon a time. She doesn't really call it a date. She just calls it like a social gathering, like two people just getting together and eating type of thing. But it was in fact a date. Dan would love a second date, but Kate is like, hell nah. And the two of them have this kind of like feisty bickering thing going on. But now that he works for her, they have to figure out how they can make the Santa School successful so it doesn't get closed down this year. In the midst of them trying to save North Star, they happen to go out to run an errand and they almost run over the real Santa Claus. They actually see his sled and reindeers take off in the sky. Santa has got amnesia and they're not quite sure what they're going to do about this, right? Now, so they decide to take the real Santa back to North Star and hide him in the Santa Claus. Okay. Hide him in the Santa Claus so nobody knows that he's suffering from amnesia, but they know they need to get his memory back before Christmas Eve because we all know that's Santa's big night. What did I tell you about this movie? It's 100% fantasy, but it's really funny. So we get all these different Santas in the Santa Claus, and the Santa Claus does not discriminate. You can have a black Santa, you can have a woman Santa. And then it's funny, Paul Campbell does a cameo playing himself where he's Paul Campbell, the actor, and he is studying the Santa Claus. And it's like, Megan and I said, we love how Kimberly Sustad and Paul Campbell love to pop in on each other's movies and they do cameos. They are such a good work wife and work husband. They are like an amazing team. So anyway, as they're going through preparing the Santas for their big season, they're really trying to help the real Santa remember the meaning of Christmas, who he is, and what his duties and jobs are. We see along the way Santa starts to remember who he is. He's remembering the gift that each person wanted the most, and he's giving them that gift. And it's just wonderfully funny, brilliantly written. It's just a good Christmas time. And like I said, if you're not into fantasy, then this is not going to hit home for you. But you have got to not want the same scripts over and over. If we're going to be saving something, why not save a Santa School? We've saved farms. We've saved homes. We've saved bakeries. We've done so much saving on Hallmark that it's a wonderful thing to be able to just save something outside of the box. Like, let's save the Santas that are going to bring cheer to all the boys and girls this Christmas year. Okay, so like I said, I'm giving the Santa Claus, I don't know why class is not hitting my tongue correctly. I'm giving the Santa Claus an 8 out of 10. I think it's some good holiday fun. I think the comedic timing and the writing is just absolutely brilliant, and I think it's worth tuning into. I don't think everything on Hallmark needs to follow its same recipe for the last 20 plus years. I think it's nice to switch it up. I did enjoy this. Shout out to Benjamin and Kimberly. Can't wait to see what you guys do in the 2025 year. And that's it for the Santa Claus. Did you all tune in? I mean, oh, and did I forget? They saved the school, and Dan and Kate find their way to each other. So my guess is they're going to be running the Santa school in future years to come. And Santa does remember who he is just in time for Christmas Eve, so he can go and deliver toys for all the good girls and boys. I just thought it was wonderful. It was just funny and hilarious. I know Megan enjoyed it too. So go check out the Santa Claus. All right, it's KJM, and I'm out. Stay tuned for the next review.